it's a4J.
Plus Bingo!
And we have one for y'all today. We're making beef stew, and in our language, gunam.
This is already sounding like something I'll enjoy. Beef or goo? Rhymes with moo.
Mom actually learned how to make beef stew from Grandma the other week, but we're going to see how this works in an Instant Pot. Ready to experiment with Mama?
Oh heck yeah! The downloadable recipe card in the description down below says to prep everything first, starting with the beef.
We're using 2.5 pounds of oxtail. Mom likes to rinse it in cold water to remove any bone fragments. Next, we need 2 pounds of beef shank. Mommy didn't find any beef shank at the market, so instead I got beef flank. Trim off any excess fat that you don't want and cut it into a little bigger than bite-sized pieces.
Whoa, this off-white thing is part of a cow?
Yep, it's actually part of the stomach. We have about 1 to 2 pounds of this book-shaped tripe. Cut these into long strips first, and then cut into about 1 by 2 inch rectangles. This next step is optional, but I recommend it to get rid of its odor. In a large pot of boiling water, add about 1/4 cup of liquor. Then, cook the tripe for about 2 minutes stirring, and then scoop it out.
That's all for the meat prep, Mom. Now we just need to assemble the herbs and spices.
Thanks, Mango! We'll need about 10 pieces of kaffir lime leaves, plus 6 pieces of star anise, 4 pieces of dried galanga. I have no idea what galanga is, but this is what the packaging looks like. Also, 5 cloves of garlic, peeled and lightly crushed. We'll also need 3 tablespoons of roasted chili paste. Lastly, we need about 3 stalks of lemongrass. Let's bruise the lemongrass stalk with a mallet so that the flavors can come out easier. Then, fold it a few times and use a twine to tie it together, or just try to knot the leafy part through. Somehow we did it.
Sweet! We're almost ready to cook, but first, time to prep the fresh ingredients.
Alrighty, Mom's going to use 2 large carrots. Just cut it into about 1.5 inch logs. For the thicker parts, go ahead and cut that in half lengthwise. We'll also cut up a large onion, first in half and again into quarters, and then slice through those wider parts.
So basically you're cutting the onions into 1/8.
Exactly. Now we'll cut 1 pound of fresh tomatoes into large chunks. Mommy bought some Roma tomatoes. They're a little smaller, so we'll go ahead and quarter them. Since our cutting board is still out, let's ready our garnishes too. Simply rough chop some cilantro, stem and leafy parts. Also, a couple of limes or lemons. Cut it into quarters and keep to the side for final presentation.
I think we're ready to cook now.
Okay, silly. Let's get started. Turn your Instant Pot to saute and wait for the hot signal. Then, add about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Then our chili paste and 1/4 cup of sugar. Give it a stir for about a minute so that it becomes aromatic. Next up is our platter of herbs and spices. We can dump it all in. Stir it around for a couple of minutes with the chili paste so they too become aromatic. If you have it, you can certainly tie all these herbs into a satchel so that it can be easily removed later. Otherwise, we're ready to add in the oxtail and beef shank. Well, in this case, flank. Still on saute mode, mix everything together so that the meats are covered in the sauce.
Oh, did you say sauce? As in now it's time to add 4 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of kosher salt. Oh, more liquor.
Yep, just add 2 tablespoons of alcohol to cook off the smell of the oxtail. Also, we'll use a 1 pound can of whole tomatoes so that the beef can stew in it. Fresh tomatoes will certainly work as well, but we're saving those for the final phase of cooking. Finally, give it another stir so that everything is evenly dispersed. Now we're ready for the magic to happen. Close and seal both the lid and vent. Reset our Instant Pot to stew meat mode and keep it on the default settings. Once that 35 minutes are up, carefully release the steam and open the lid. Now we add our fresh cut carrots and beef tripe that we boiled earlier. Let's push those ingredients into the stew so they get cooking too. Close the lid and vent again. This time, We'll reduce to 5 minutes on the stew meat mode.
Heads up, 5 minutes up.
Thanks, Mangs. Carefully release the steam and open the lid, letting any liquid drip back into the stew. In the third phase of cooking in our Instant Pot, we'll add our fresh tomatoes and onions. Looks like we're running out of space here, huh? But let's gently push down all the ingredients into the stew. Close the lid and vent one last time, and reduce the time to 3 minutes on stew meat mode.
Mom, I think we're ready to eat now. Instant Pot is done.
Alright, let the steam out, open the lid. Wowee, looks spicy, huh? It's not at all. Let's give it a taste in case we need to adjust any seasoning. If we're satisfied with the flavors, let's search for our herbs and spices because they're not pleasant to eat, so we gotta remove lemongrass, kaffir leaves, galanga, and star anise seeds. Now that we're left with the good stuff in the beef stew, go ahead and scoop out as much as you'd like. Make sure to get all the parts of the beef: oxtail, flank meat, and tripe. And don't forget the veggies too: carrots, onions, and the tomatoes. You know, this would be easier to scoop if I skimmed off some of that rendered out beef fat that's floating on the top. We shouldn't eat all that, so let's remove it. Now we're left with all its glory. Oh my god, Mommy!
This is so exciting! Topping the beef stew, gOjeandre with fresh cilantro makes such a big difference in terms of looks, but flavor too. I smells the herby broth in combination of that yummy cilantro. Whoa!
Oh yeah, we should squeeze some of that lime juice over the stew too. It helps cut out some of that heaviness and brings out a refreshing taste. Also, we love to eat gOjeandre by dipping fresh French baguette into the beef stew or cook up some vermicelli noodles too.
Mommy, Spock's trying to rain on my parade and get into our video.
It's all good. We all have to share sometimes. Check out our website at a4J.com for a blog post on beef stew, gOjeandre, and get a free copy of this handwritten recipe. That's all for Jean.
And Mango.
Plus Spock, the husky.